Okay, so we're going to hear now from Kelly, and you're going to tell us about your toilet training experience with young Tommy. So when did you start? How did it all go?
So we started the prep work with Tommy when he was around 9 months old.
Okay.
So no pressure, no expectation. He would come into the bathroom with us. He would sit on a potty. He would play around. We'd do lots of talking about what was going on in the bathroom, toileting, pants up, pants down, washing hands, that type of stuff. Yeah. And he would sit on the potty and do nothing for a really long time.
Yeah.
And that's what we did. And we would sing songs and just get him comfortable in the bathroom on the potty.
Yeah. Once or twice a day?
As many times as we would go.
Oh, okay. So not just before. Quite often people start with bath time.
No, we kind of just, whenever we would go to the toilet, he would come with us.
His everyday routine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah.
And then we started, talking about routine, we would kind of, as we got older, kind of post one, we would take him in at set times. So the fluidness of when we would go, but also making more of a routine about it. Like, so in the first thing in the morning when we would then brush our teeth and have a wash, after meals, after drinking, bedtime, bath time. Yeah. So it became more of a structured thing throughout the day. But again, no pressure, no expectation. We started to then catch wheeze and poos on the potty just by chance, and we would make a big song and dance about it. We'd have a big party in the bathroom, lots of singing, lots of clapping, lots of cheering, hooraying, to try and help Tom understand that's what we want him to do eventually in the potty. Still no expectation, wouldn't be sat there for hours and hours until he did something. It was a quick kind of 2-minute in and out. Yeah. Then around the age, I'm going to say probably 18 months to, we started to get more and more wheeze by chance on the potty. So then we took the step as parents to do more timed toileting with him, to really kind of maximise our chances of catching the wee on the potty. Yeah. So we would do it kind of in the morning more rigidly, after eating, after drinking, about an hour after eating, after drinking, with June's kind of advice around that. And then bedtime. We were getting more and more and more wheeze and poos on the potty, more parties in the bathroom, more cheering, more bubbles. It was great. And then around 2.5, I think Tom really started to make the connection between this sensation in my body and going to the toilet. We've done Macathon with Tommy since he was tiny, so that was not a new concept to him at all. And we had introduced the sign for toilet, so we kind of just did it on our shoulder to him from very little. He wasn't doing it himself, kind of initiating independently, but he was definitely starting to understand this sign means the bathroom, means the potty. We also kept, just out of choice, we also kept the potty in the bathroom. So I know sometimes families bring it into like the living areas and other places in the house. We didn't, we just kept it all in the bathroom, because that's where you go to the toilet in our kind of house. Most houses, hopefully. So yes, so the understanding between this sign and this sensation in my body means I need to go to the toilet. I will say, probably one of the lessons that we learn about 2.5-ish, 3, we took pants off because we were getting so many on the toilet. So around 2.5, we took pants off, nappy off.
Nappy off, right.
Took nappy off and kind of went for it. In hindsight, I think we might have jumped too early because he was still only 2.5.
So you started taking the nappy off at 2.5, but with hindsight, you think he wasn't quite ready. Right.
Because we had lots of accidents. Lots of accidents. And it was a really hard couple of months. Right. But we'd gone for it, we'd done it. We didn't want to go backwards and put the nappy back on, so we just kind of powered through. We had a very supportive nursery as well, which made a difference. And they were very kind of on board with keeping the nappy off and kind of going for it. And we did have days where he'd be like totally dry, and we were like, oh, here we go. This is the kind of the hope that we were clinging on to.
He can do it.
He can do it. And we had days where it was like a total
disaster.
Like I'd send 10 pairs of clothes and he'd still come home in nurseries stuff. And it was just like, holy moly. So yeah, really, we carried on. We were in it, like we were in the trenches. It was a rough couple of months, I'll be honest. Just going out of the house, car seat, food shopping, soft play. I was like, oh my God, this boy, because he was just wet. But after that, by about 3, maybe just after the age of 3, we were having more and more and more dry days. Longer periods between needing to go. So his bladder capacity was, you could see that it was kind of maturing. And he was able to hold more fluid. So bigger wheeze, but less often, which was a real positive thing. And we'd probably have on average about 5 dry days out of 7.
Oh, wow. Excellent.
By 3.5.
Yeah.
With a lot of support from nursery.
Yeah.
The bad days were still bad, and it'd be a washout, and you'd go, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Not such a good day there.
Yes.
And my washing machine would be on.
Yeah.
But the other days were great.
Yeah.
Also, what we noticed, probably came a little bit later, so nearer age 4, so he's 5 now. Nearer age 4 was the real understanding. So the self-initiation part came at the end, so about age 4. He would sign independently to us. He would still need our support to take him to the toilet, obviously.
Right.
But he would more and more, not every time, but more and more would sign toilet.
Excellent.
And we're now at the point where Tom is much more verbal in his expressive communication. He now says, I need a wee, I need a poo.
Oh, brilliant.
And 95% of the time will self-initiate. We have probably 1 accident a month. It's very few and far between now, even at school.
Yeah.
And he kind of takes himself out with us watching at the door as he's ushering us out. Close the door. But I'll just kind of hover.
Privacy
Yes.
Yeah.
He does pants up, pants down. He wipes, he flushes, he washes his hands, he dries his hands as I'm peering through the crack.
Yeah.
Are we okay?
Yeah.
But yeah, he pretty much.
That's amazing.
Pretty much, yeah, does it.
So, yeah, started reception in pants for school.
Oh, yeah. Was at nursery in pants towards the end of his nursery. Tom is one of the oldest in the year, so he's October.
Right.
So he's got that kind of benefit.
Yeah.
But towards the end of his nursery time, he was in pants full time with much fewer accidents.
Yeah.
Started school in pants.
Excellent. Brilliant. So just to recap, you started at about 9 months with that, just introducing the potty, very low key. And then by about after a year, sort of 18 months, you were starting to get more success. And then sort of from 2-ish, am I right? Perhaps you were saying you were more focused on the time toileting and actually started, when did you remove?
2.5.
2.5. And perhaps you were a couple of months early. But against that June, and what we often see is you do have to go through that period, of the child actually realising the connection.
And I think it did help taking the pants off. Taking the nappy off. Sorry. Because he then had the wet sensation, which he wasn't getting.
Without experiencing that,
with the nappy.
Connection.
I mean, we didn't do pull-ups or anything like that because it's the same as having a nappy on.
I know.
So we just
more expensive.
So we just kind of went for it. And I think that's probably the biggest lesson is that we've learned from our experience is just it feels like you've been doing it for a really long time when you start at 9 months, and that's because you have been doing it for a really long time when you're focusing on all things toileting. But it's a marathon, not a sprint, and it takes time and it takes repetition and consolidation. But then at some point, it all kind of clicks. Step care, I suppose. Steps approach. But I would say think where your child is developmentally, because 2.5 I would say is still fairly youngish for a typical child to be going into pants. That's why I say maybe we jumped a little bit early with Tom. That's maybe why we had so many accidents.
Right.
And maybe if we'd waited to closer to 3.
Okay.
But who knows? You can't. Exactly. Who knows?
No. And it has to be when it actually practically works for you. I seem to remember you being on a toilet boot camp. I can't remember what time was it. I was going to say often people sort of time it around when it works for them, time of the year that perhaps a parent's got a couple of weeks off, or it's the summer and children are outside more. And
actually, ours coincided with him moving up a nursery room.
Oh, okay.
So we went from like the younger age group up into the
next room,
preschoolers or whatever they're called.
And
I said, right, well, they have a focus on it at nursery. They've got open access to the toilets. It's a thing at nursery. So let's kind of.
Oh, brilliant! So you did it kind of in conjunction. Well, you said they were very supportive, but it was obviously a sort of natural opportunity, I guess, to work with them. Excellent. So any other tips, any other things you'd say to parents?
Lots and lots of pants.
Buy packs.
Lots and lots of pants. Patience, and I know that's really hard, and I find it really hard with busy lives and busy schedules, and you just want A to B, and I get that, and I'm the same. But it really, really does take more time than you would think.
Yes.
Which is why you do the prep work and you do the scaffolding around it.
Yeah.
And I guess if you can have that mindset of, I've not been toilet training from 9 months old, because you haven't, you've been doing the scaffolding part, that can help a little bit to shift that, oh, I've been doing this forever kind of feeling.
Yes.
And a sense of humour, I guess, because the bad days, the bad days are hard. That were hard. They were really hard. I mean, I can remember being out food shopping more than once, and Tom just weeing completely all over the food in the trolley.
Oh dear, it's not ideal.
No, in the middle of the shop.
Yeah. Had you? Oh, so you'd not paid for it?
No, we were halfway round.
Oh. Abandoned trot? No, we won't go into that story. Yeah.
There were hard days. Right. There was lots of pulling over at the side of the road to sit on the potty in the what's it. But he did it. He's come through the other side, and I'm so glad that he did do it.
Yes.
And you kind of forget about it. You forget about the hard times, and when you see the kind of the end.
I imagine you're very proud of.
Super proud of him. Yeah. And he kind of is in a mainstream reception, and he kind of just slots in very nicely and does what all the other kids are doing and takes himself to the toilet.
Yeah, which I think is great for for the teachers, for the other parents to kind of realise what our children can potentially achieve. Yeah.
One of my and it was my fear as a parent, was that he was gonna potentially be nappies or be having lots of accidents, and it being very obvious, because it is obvious, isn't it, when it's wet or whatever. And the social implications of that, maybe not in reception, but as you go through the older years, it was just more of a social awareness thing for me. But he's done it.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Lovely. Well, thank you very much. Well done to young Tommy and you.
Lots of wine and shit.
Excellent. Thanks, Kelly.
No problem.